Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Searching for Happiness podcast. I am your host, Joseph Grable, and today I have with me veteran filmmaker and writer Ernesto Rodriguez. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
I've had a fun conversation with you thus far, so I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit more on a personal level, my dude. First and foremost, you're a veteran, man.
I am.
First and foremost, thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I come from a military family, so you're very well respected in my terms, man. And I appreciate you, taking out the time to come today and do this with me, man. I know it's been a while, too. We've been trying to do it for a while, but it's just been...
We have. I was supposed to be in season 1.
You're supposed to be in season 1, I think back in, May.
I was supposed to be your third guest.
Yeah, and it's now it's guest 25 or something. Your guest.
Yeah, well,
25.
I mean,
life is crazy.
When we first met, I was still commuting.
Oh yeah,
from Arizona.
That's right.
To LA every week to make a movie. Yeah,
that's right. Oh my goodness.
And so you were like, "Oh, dude, come on the podcast." I'm like, yeah, I'm in Tucson right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I finally made the big move last year, actually, September 15th. So,
oh yeah, so just
I'm a little over a year of living in LA. Yeah,
I remember that though. Yeah, man, we've known each other for 2 years because I met you when we were doing the because you started school online, right?
Yes, as did everybody.
Yeah. I was here 6 months before all that bullshit happened. So I had class on campus, completely normal, nothing wrong, everything post-COVID or pre-COVID, obviously. And then we transitioned to school, and then I met so many new people. But I think you were one of the first people I really connected with over Zoom, though.
Yeah, I think I started April of 2020.
Okay, yeah.
So it was all digital for me. Zoom.
I was August 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been interesting for sure. And now we're both coming towards our closure of.
I know. How is it? Are you nervous? I know you're going for your master's, but are you nervous that it's kind of wrapping up at least at this level?
I'm not nervous. I'm confident in what I can do. It's different for me just because of the fact that when I came in and I started realizing that I'm in class with a lot of people who just got out of high school or took a break, or they're in their 20s, and I'm almost 40. But I feel confident because you have to have stories to tell, and I have plenty of stories.
I agree.
So no, I'm happy and proud to be here, where I am, and to know that that I can bring something to the table.
Yeah. For sure. Well, you definitely bring a lot of things to the table, my dude. I've worked with Ernesto for in person for about a year now, I would say, because you were as soon as you moved here, you were ready to go on production.
I hit the ground running. Yeah.
You hit the ground running. So I actually met you in person fairly quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember you would drive when you lived in Tucson, you would drive here when they started doing in person and stuff.
Yeah.
And you would start doing classes. So we even met before that. And you have a lot to bring to the table, man. I've been your assistant director before as well, for Because I Love You, and you're very fun to work with, and you're very well grounded, and you're very what you want as well, which is great, because a lot of people, nothing wrong with this, because life is all about learning, but a lot of people just don't know what they want when they're doing certain things.
No, yeah, and I know what I want, but I'm also happy to hear other people's opinions of things.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've noticed that some people get so involved in their own stories that they don't allow outside input. And I always want to make sure that if I am working, and I hope to God that I continue working.
You will.
That well, let's hope.
You will. You will. You gotta be optimistic, man.
Well,
Gotta speak it into existence.
okay, well, I don't do that. I don't manifest things on a wall. That's not how I do things. But I hope I can collaborate enough with people where they're safe enough in my sets and in my environments that they can bring their input in, and I could receive it, and make a better version of whatever I'm thinking. So, stories need to be told, and that's important. And sometimes it's best for the whole production to ensure that even the smallest voice is heard, because that may amplify and make your story better.
I agree.
There's so many people that are so fixated and focused on what they want to do that they don't see the outside.
Yeah, they don't put themselves in other people's shoes, and they don't see the other perspective.
Right.
Yeah, and it goes a long ways. Like, especially, you've learned, I've learned. It goes a long ways when you're really communicative with your team, and you're really if you're really good at communicating, you will do a very effective job.
And people have dreams, right? So, like, let's say I'm directing a film, and I have a PA or a craft guy, whatever, but really he wants to direct. Give him a shot.
Yeah.
Throw him in front. Hey, man, there's the camera, there's the viewfinder. Here's the focus guy. Show me what you got. Because you never know. You may be breeding the next Tarantino, and you don't know, because he's serving sandwiches, right? And so, I hope, and I wish that my ego never goes so far that I can't give somebody else a chance who's starting from the bottom.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I'm very, like, especially, recently, just kind of reevaluating myself in my life. I've realized that, like, in LA, you can definitely form an ego, and I'm looking to, like, definitely ditch mine. And when it comes on set, egos definitely get the best of people, for sure.
Of course.
And they, and I think the way you work with your crew, I think you leave it all at the door, and I think that's really, really good.
No,
and I think, I think that, what you were saying about giving people chances is you do that as well on set. Like, you have, like, bump people up in roles, or, you've demoted someone that wasn't doing a good job because you could tell that someone that actually really wanted to do it was going to do a better job. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's, very, very crucial to have on set.
Yeah. And the thing is, I don't come from a LA frame of mind, right? So, I mean, I've lived in, Jesus Christ. All right, hold on. Let me think. Indiana, New Jersey, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, a little bit of Texas, Arizona, Los Angeles. I lived in Germany for a little bit, and
10 places.
More than that. Those are the ones that I can think of, like, that were impactful in my life. But
yeah.
Every place I've been, like, I've met people who want to tell stories or want to direct, want to act, whatever. They want to be in this part of the industry.
Yeah.
And they can't because they're not from LA. And so when I come here, I don't come here with an LA frame of mind. I don't come here with we have to do it this way kind of frame. I think about all these people who are everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to empathize with them and be like, we'll eventually we'll come to you, because the great stories are not in LA. The great stories are fucking middle America,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
And if you think about it, like, we tell these based on a true story veteran stories or Western stories and shit like that. None of it happens in California. So hopefully, in my tenure as a director or filmmaker, I can bring those people in and tell the stories in the way they need to be told.
And you're opening a Latinx, film production company as well, right?
I'm working on it.
Working on it,
I'm
yeah.
working on it.
And I think that'll help a lot. Shed the light
Yeah,
on stories like that.
I have not seen Latinx. I say Latino because I'm older, and that's just the for me that's my
Mm-hmm.
verbiage. I haven't seen a Latino film company really take off in Hollywood. So we can talk about the legality of things, right? You build a production company so that you can make your movies and
Yeah.
tax and money and blah blah blah. But no, I've never seen a Latino film company. We've had Latino actors and directors, but never ones that have like solid representation.
Yeah.
So, and we're at a point in history now where representation is important.
Yeah.
Um, whether it be your sexuality, your lineage. So yeah, so the Taino Indians were the Native American tribe that was in Puerto Rico before
Mm-hmm.
the Spaniards came in and like took it over. So yeah, Taino Pictures is what I want to do, and make sure that Latino voices have a chance in Hollywood to tell Latino stories.
That's awesome, dude. And I think, of course we'll touch on it a little bit more throughout the video, but I think representation is an all-time high right now, and it's been beautiful to watch the content come out these last few years in different cultural aspects. You know what I mean? Like Squid Game, Fences. What's another good one?
Reservation Dog.
Oh yeah, Reservation Dogs. Yeah, yeah. I did check that out actually. You're starting to see too, like in Hollywood there are more stories of representation.
But they still struggle. This
Yeah.
is the thing. They still fight with the studios to make these stories, and the studios are very old school and kind of naive. So they keep going like, oh, we need a white protagonist or like a superhero who's and we're done with that. We're done with that. And they're trying, and they're playing these games where like, oh, we'll put a Latinx character in there to make sure it's represented, or gay, or lesbian. Well, gay. They're all gay. It's gay, right? I don't know. Gay, lesbian. I don't know. Or black or whatever. We're gonna make sure that all the characters are represented, but they're not doing it for the sake of telling those stories. They're doing it to fill a demographic.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get these people to sit down and watch this movie? And that's not the way it should be. Like, we should be able to tell those stories, right? I've been reading these books about Latino fairy tales, to see how I can turn those into scripts, where a lot of studios are like, we'll just throw a Latino in there. or a black person or a gay person, so that we can put butts in seats. Yeah, I mean, that'll help you with business, but in the long run, they're not going to keep coming.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, we have Black Panther 2. This is a great example. I hate that I just figured this out. Black Panther 2. Let's take all the black and Latino characters in Marvel and just throw them all in one movie. Right? Namor is now Mayan, Mexican, Latino, caramel skinned. We'll throw him in with all the black people too. And just sell that. Right? And I see it on TikTok and social media. We're all gonna wear white for Black Panther. To honor
Chadwick
Boseman, and we're just gonna throw all the minorities into one movie. That way we can sell tickets. That's how I see it. That's how I see it.
It's probably the truth. It's just the truth. I mean, if it's plain of day.
That's how Marvel's working, right?
Sense.
We need a Muslim. Let's make Miss Marvel. We need a Latino. Let's throw him in Black Panther. We need a black community to come watch our movies. Let's make Black Panther 2. And Black Panther, the first one, right? You remember the whole controversy about that?
No, I don't remember.
White people shouldn't go to the fucking Black Panther movie?
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I think it like around Black Panther when it came out, I was still like, I don't think I was in high school. I was out of high school, but it's like 2 years out of high school. I loved movies. I went and watched them, but I never kept up with the behind the scenes news. Once I moved to LA, I got very enamored with like behind the scenes gossip and news and stuff like that. So that's probably why I haven't, but I would believe it. I would believe it. I would believe it. America's a very interesting place, so I believe it. But yeah, no, dude, I think someone, I don't even know. It was a few weeks ago. Someone started kind of pointing out similarities the way you're saying as well, and you know, you're probably not far off. To be honest, you're not.
I'm not far off.
Yeah, you're not far off, dude. Like, and you know, sometimes it's very obvious in movies too.
Yeah.
Like they just threw the person in there just because
it's money. It's money.
Yeah, just because like they don't want to get backlash.
I see the forest for the trees, right? Yeah. So I understand that this will make me money, so I'm not going to deviate from that.
Yeah.
I'm also happy to see that like people are calling Hollywood out for those things.
Yeah.
Like Brendan Fraser being back in Hollywood is great and necessary.
Amazing.
For way more than just being in movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, to see these people trying to figure out how to get representation in Hollywood is important. Hopefully the studios don't stifle that and make sure that, you know, and I'm not just talking about minorities, right? I'm not just talking about all those people, but like ageism is a big thing for me, right? For me, I'm 40 years old. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be in Hollywood. Ageism is a big thing in Hollywood. So hopefully that doesn't keep me from making quality movies.
I don't think it will.
We'll find out, I guess. Right?
You never know.
That's true.
I feel like it's more true for actors, not filmmakers.
No, you're wrong.
Really?
Yeah. I don't have a shelf life.
I could see. Okay, that's fair. I just feel like it's more common for actors though, because you know the actors do have that rule. Like once you turn 40 or like once you're 35, it's like harder to get roles or something.
Especially sucks for female actors.
Oh yeah, I know.
Right? So the thing is like, you know, for a male going into his mid 40, eventually, when I graduate from all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be in my mid-40s. I'll still be known as distinguished or whatever. Where a female actress will suffer because of her age. Let me tell you what, man. I'll take those actresses over a 20-year-old all day.
Oh yeah.
Or day. They have experience. They have knowledge.
Exactly.
They know.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. You know, I think the next coming years are gonna be very interesting for you.
So how you doing, man? Like, let me ask you, like, how's your happiness going? Yeah, no, yeah, you want to fucking around and fucking play this searching for happiness stuff. Like,
yeah, man.
it's really important to know that you're happy. You can keep
I'm happy.
asking people how they're doing, but
yeah,
why are you happy? I'm happy. I could have come on. This episode would have been over in 2 seconds. So I would have been like, yeah, I'm good, happy.
that's true.
End of story.
I'm happy for a lot of reasons, man.
Tell me.
You know, last few years have been like really rough and like financially and, career wise and school wise, and everything's kind of coming, to a close, and, school, and I'm getting ready to graduate in like 2 months. And I just worked with like the most amazing crew I could have like ever asked for, like on a, short film that I shot. We still got to shoot some scenes, but like, I'm very excited to get back to work with the whole crew, and like it just makes me happy to had watched and seen and done all that this past weekend. And
but tell me about your happiness.
my happiness,
you're like shit's rough, but it's okay. But now I have no. Tell me what's making you happy.
There's a lot of things, man. I'm surrounded by great people. I'm surrounded by great friends. I'm surrounded by an amazing family. I have a family of my own now, with a little dog and a wife, like that makes me happy. I drive a nice car now. It's something I always wanted as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
you just turned what, like 12?
Multiply that by 2 and you got my age.
All right.
But yeah, pretty much 12. But no, like my whole life I've had, I've had like a little bit of a rough life with like heart surgeries, and I've lost a few people very close to me, and I don't know, it's starting to feel worth it. It's starting to feel a little worth it. Not fully, I don't know how to put it.
It's never going to feel worth it.
Yeah.
And the as soon as it starts feeling worth it, you're off the path.
I see what you're saying.
No, it's okay to be happy. It's okay to be driven forward. But the second you feel satisfied, for me at least.
Oh yeah.
The second you feel satisfied, something's off.
Oh yeah, no.
Because you should always want more.
Yeah, you should always want. Oh yeah, no, I have goals for like the next 50
and not
years.
in a bad way,
Yeah.
right? You never push yourself to a point that it's unattainable.
Yeah.
Well, you have a wife, right? You have a puppy. You've made it to your 20-somethings. You have a TV. You have a you have a roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody has that.
Yep.
So your next goal should be like, I'll do an upgrade to my apartment. I'll get a 2-bedroom instead of 1-bedroom.
That's literally our goal.
Right.
Like that's
hilarious. It. Little small steps.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is, if you're like, I want to, like, instead of a 2-bedroom, I want a mansion in the hills. Then you're driving too far. Right. You're never gonna, and you won't get there because you're too busy focused on that.
Yeah.
So enjoy what you have. Be happy with what you have. Pursue your happiness in whatever way you want. And just one step at a time, but small steps.
Yeah. I'm not a big stepper. Trust me, I'm not a big stepper. Like, I go nice and slow. Like, each goal I have like obtained this year has been like years in the making. Like, I like for my car, for instance, I've never had like any nice car. Like I've always had, like beaters or like cars that constantly break down, or, and now I can, comfortably, have a nice car. or it's like things like I might not be. I'm not fully satisfied right now, obviously, because I have more goals, obviously. But at the same time, like
Wait,
I think.
but you should be satisfied. Here's the thing: be satisfied with what you have now,
Well, yes, of course, of
with
course.
the knowledge that you will get things later.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I talking about new cars.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, I have a brand new.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
I have a
yeah,
brand
Jeep.
new souped up Jeep. I love that thing. I have a beautiful motorcycle, a nice place in LA. I'm super happy with where I am.
Mm-hmm.
Be happy with what you have now. Enjoy what you want. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3 beautiful cameras.
Yes.
A car I'm sure that you have is wonderful. A wife would be happy with what you have now,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that you don't need it.
Oh yeah, I know I don't need it.
No. And the older you get, the more you'll figure that out. If somebody were to take all this away from me right now, I'd be totally okay. Where a lot of people get all this and think that's a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need any of this.
Oh yeah, I know.
So we haven't spoken about this. I for about a year and a half, I basically lived on the road
Mm-hmm.
with nothing, a backpack with clothes, a tent, no dogs, no family, no love life, no belongings, no car, nothing. And I was happy. I was super happy. And now I struggle with my happiness because I keep trying to figure out how to keep the things I have without needing them. It's pretty rough, man. I love that
Rough.
Jeep. That Jeep is bomb, right? You know, my season pass to Universal is great. I have these great things, but nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
Do I keep working for it? Do I keep pushing to keep those things? Or do I keep pushing to be happy? That's a big struggle amongst people in general.
I agree. It's something I struggle with all the time as well. You know, like I mean, because like you're right. Like we don't need these things. Like I find myself, you know, like Universal for instance.
I love Universal. By the
I
way.
love it. I love it too. I love
I
it too.
just finished Halloween Horror Nights.
I still haven't been because I'm a broke ass bitch. But
It's part
like,
of the season
yeah,
pass,
yeah.
baby.
I mean, like I'm not broke because I live in LA, obviously. But like you know, LA's expensive.
You're LA broke.
I'm LA broke. I'm LA broke, people. So don't come at my throat, please. But like, no, like I just was saying that for once in my life, like truly, like for once in my life, I feel like I can breathe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can like truly just breathe. And if I just like want to fuck off for a day,
Isn't it the best thing?
I can.
Yeah.
And I've never in my entire life been able to do that. You know, like I had my first job.
Enjoy that luxury because
Yeah.
there are people, in the U.S. who don't get that luxury. They don't get to breathe. They're working, 9 to 5s or
Yeah.
60 hours.
Oh yeah,
plus.
I've seen it. My mom had jobs, all sorts of jobs when I was a kid, man. My mom worked day in, day out.
It's so weird in LA too because the thing is like, I could just make a new brand of shoelace.
Yeah.
And make 6 figures.
Yeah, because all you have to do is find that niche of like rich people.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh,
And
I made the new Louis Vuitton, like
yeah.
the next Louis
and
Vuitton.
here it's easy.
Yeah.
But then like you go to your friends back home and they're like, how the fuck are you still living?
Yeah.
Because I found a bunch of rich idiots who liked, big toe only nail polish.
Yeah.
And now I have, enough money to stay in LA.
Yeah. And it's like, it's crazy, dude. Is you can make money doing anything out here as well, because I know a lady that literally charges like $500 a day just to show up with like crafty and make it look pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like she makes a killing like a day off of that. Like, and she literally just sits there on her phone and like, I've seen her at like 2 different shoots and like she just sits there and just like restocks.
There's companies here that sell dirt.
Yeah, I know. Like I know. You can.
Dirt, literally, like they go to fucking New Mexico, dig dirt into into a truck, and bring it onto a movie set, and like $1.5 million for all this dirt, and then they put it back in their truck to sell to somebody else.
It's so LA.
It's
It's
dirt.
so true.
That's LA. The LA is like, I will sell you dirt for millions of dollars.
It's very much LA. Oh my goodness. No, like for real, it's you can make money in the most mysterious ways. But that's also allowed me to like people ask me all the time, like, oh, would you move to LA again? 100% because like it's taught me things about business, about money, about real estate, about
Yeah, man.
filmmaking, about everything you can think of. LA has taught me and at least the basics of it. And it has made my brain think in different ways to allow me to have days off.
I'll love being here while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn the art of filmmaking. So directing. So I'm getting my bachelor's in directing. I'll get my master's in cinematography. Two big important parts of filmmaking. Will I stay here after that? I got to be honest, probably not. I don't want to live in the same state as the Kardashians, to be honest.
That's fair.
Right? These people just we the privilege and encompassing of fame here is ridiculous.
Oh my God, it's tiring.
And not just that, we're not giving an opportunity to very talented artists outside of LA. So what we're expecting is all these people who are talented to move to LA with no money and hope they make it.
They got to literally work from the ground up.
Right. Where we can literally, in LA, where we have way too much money, push east and find these people and give them a shot. I don't get why everything's here.
The longer I live here, the more I think that too. I don't get it.
Right. And I'm never going to be a nepotism daddy, as they call it, right? Oh, because because your father is an executive at Paramount, I have to give you a job. I'm not gonna play that game.
Oh hell no, bro.
Especially if it's not like,
oh no.
If let's say two people are auditioning for the same role, and this girl is amazing and talented, but she's from Iowa, and she's never had a chance to really be anything, but she's amazing. But this girl is, some girl who is the daughter of whatever, a producer, a director, whatever. So I have to give it to her. I'm giving it to Iowa all the way.
Oh, same, 100%. Talent over everything. Talent over everything.
That's a mark of death for us sometimes too, though. So we got to be careful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget that with movies sometimes too. Is like sometimes it's just talent over everything, dude. It has to be like Game of Thrones, for instance. The girl, the new girl, I don't know her name, but the new House of Dragons. She was like a nobody. Like she had like some like
the younger girl, because we
the younger girl. Yeah. She was like a nobody, like working in a
beautiful, amazing, talented actor.
Yeah.
Holy shit, she gave so much emotion.
Yeah, she was literally like a nobody, like washing dishes like a week before she got called, like living above a restaurant.
Good for her.
Right? Like those are the stories you want to hear, bro. I'm so tired of hearing like, oh yeah, this dude got a job because his dad directed this movie, or like this dude got a job because his mom did this to this person.
Or this is the kid of two major actors.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so tired.
Mia Hawke, Wyatt Russell. I can go all day, dude.
God, dude. Don't even get me started, bro.
Right, but the thing is, like,
me and Sabrina rant about it all the time.
They're the kids of actors, so therefore somebody
yeah.
Yeah. Somebody pulled some strings, right?
Yeah.
To get them in there. And I'm not saying that they're not talented, but they have a one up. And
Oh, over everything.
let's not play this game like you worked so hard to get there.
They all say that too. They're like, I worked really hard too. I was like, bro, I'm sure you do now. Like, I'm sure you dedicate yourself really well. But brother,
Yeah, somebody gave
yeah,
you.
like
You
you did not start from the
you have
ground up.
way more privilege than you think you do, right? I'm all about talent. I understand talent, right? Like, and I'll say this: Mia Hawke is not too bad. However, she plays the same person every time, right? Wyatt Russell, same thing. Every time we can get on the phone and play this nepotism baby bullshit all day. What you're doing is you're taking away from talent that's outside of you.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, after Weinstein, Hollywood needs fresh blood. We need to understand that there is talent outside of this fucking place.
Yeah.
And we have been so focused on what's here that we're neglecting what's available to us.
Yeah.
You know, I have friends who are filmmakers in Kentucky and Tennessee, Georgia, New Jersey, all these great places, but they'll never get a shot in hell because they don't know a celebrity or a name's not attached to it.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It does suck, dude. It sucks. But it's like, that's why I have a feeling the next few years the film business is going to change a lot, though.
No, I have a feeling in this year it will change.
Oh yeah, no, and I've noticed more and more that people, are becoming nobodies, from nobodies to somebody. You know what I mean? I think they're trying to branch out more than that, but there's definitely still a huge problem with that.
I think we're going to see a huge rise in independent films.
Yes.
With the facility of literally, I can take my phone and make a video right now.
Yeah.
I can make a movie right now.
Exactly.
I think we're going to see, it's a slippery slope because we're going to get shit movies, but at least we will be able to expose ourselves to other people outside of Hollywood.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Well, man, how have you been though? Truly, like, how have you been? Have you been happy enough, or you think you're just kind of floating? Sometimes I feel like I'm just floating.
Oh, I'm floating.
You're floating right
I'm
now.
floating for sure. I'm happy making other people happy. I think that's been an issue for me for a very long time. I work on it as best as I can. I'm satiated where I am. I'm okay.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get here compared to where I thought I was going to be, which is a fucking ditch.
Yeah.
Nobody ever really believed in me, and so to be where I am right now, is a miracle, and not just that, but satisfying.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, no, I'm happy where I am. I don't have a million friends around me, but that's okay, because I'd rather have good friends.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
Quality over quantity.
Very happy with my 2 puppies. Watching way too many freaking movies.
Same.
But that's, for me, that's just more education. Yeah. How are people making movies? All that stuff. And I'm happy to be, even in my 40s, doing something I dreamed of doing in my 20s. No, even younger, right? When I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor. For that, now I want to be a director, but to stay in that line and be able to know, like, I want to be in movies. I'm proud that I never gave up.
I'm glad. I'm proud that you never gave up either, bro. Because it's been really good getting to know you these last few years, bro.
No, I'm happy. I'm happy where I am. I'm happily here after a very long time. This took decades to get here. Hopefully I can share stories where they need to be shared, and hopefully I can help other people
I think
to
you
tell
will.
their stories too,
I think you
or
will.
at least be part of the system. And we definitely need a refresh.
Yeah, I think honestly, I consider myself in the people pleasing business. Like I enjoy pleasing people because we're making art. We're making art that entertains the world. You know what I mean? And eventually, we are gonna be on those multi-million-dollar movies.
Nope,
No,
nope, don't want to be there.
no, you don't want to. Okay,
I
well,
enjoy pleasing myself
pleasing yourself. Okay,
so much, but I never want to be in those big places. I want to be, I want to stay maybe in a higher position, but I still want to be down here helping those 20-year-olds, those early 30-year-olds make their fucking movies.
I respect that.
That way we keep having original content in a place that is not original anymore. I don't want to see a reboot of Little Women. I don't want to see a reboot of. That's the thing. Like 20 years from now, we'll get another Iron Man because
Oh
they'll reboot
yeah.
it
Oh yeah.
instead of these amazing stories. I want these young filmmakers to have a place where they can tell original stories and not be afraid to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Because studios will be like, nope, that's not going to make us any money. But who wins the Oscars?
The originals.
The originals. The originals.
I always tell people that they're like, why do you like say like like a lot of people like making like superhero stuff or like action flicks, and sometimes it's not original stuff, and I'm like you guys like, and then they'll just echo so much how much they want to win awards. I was like, you're making the wrong content then, my dude.
Yeah.
Like you need to focus on something that's true to you, something
Right.
that, or it doesn't have to be true to you. It could be an epiphany that you had off of an idea that you saw somewhere else, but you can make it an original piece. You know what I mean?
So hopefully I'll be almost 50 by the time I get my master's. Hopefully at that point I'll be, and very proud and happy to do it. I'll be able to facilitate younger men and women to tell original stories
Mm-hmm.
that will resonate with America, right? Not a superhero story, not a sci-fi, not a, historical thing, but something that will resonate with people based on individual stories that we've all heard. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in the next coming 10 years, man. And I think honestly, the biggest thing about this business, they say they have these rules, about age and stuff. It's like anyone at any age can make it in this
Rules are
business.
made to be broken, man. And that's the thing. And Hollywood loves when somebody breaks the rules.
Yeah, it's true.
Think about it. Jordan Peele.
Hollywood's very forgiving too.
Jordan Peele, comedy writer, Key and Peele, all that stuff. Amazing horror writer. No.
True.
But he got his foot in.
Yeah, you gotta. That's what I really learned about, from some of our, mentors and, people I've looked up to that are, like Jordan Peele or Spielberg or Ari Aster or, all those guys, all those new upcoming Ty West, you know what I mean? Like, I've really realized that they have all done things to get where they are now. They've all had to do things that maybe they originally didn't want to do. But like Jordan Peele, it took him like 8 years to make that first movie.
And we have those. We have the two kinds, right? We have the ones that play the game,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the ones that break the game.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm trying to think. Eggers. Eggers. So his last one was The Northman, right?
Yes, yes.
Where he
Edgar Wright.
no, it was he did The Witch, Hereditary. Robert Eggers.
Oh, Robert Eggers. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robert Eggers. So like he made these movies that were, critically great, and now he's pushing into studio.
Ah.
So he made The Witch,
I see.
all these things, and now he's making The Northman, which he thought would propel him into the studios.
Yeah.
And then you have other people like Ari Aster and all these other people who are like, no, I'm happy doing my own thing because my stuff is beautiful and filled with context and has a good story. Well, I don't need to turn this into a franchise.
Yeah.
Right.
I respect that too. I'm really tired of like universes getting made. I'm like, dude, I'm over it.
So many.
You got like the Walking Dead universe, you got the Dark universe, you got the DC
now John
universe,
Wick,
the John Wick universe, the MCU. There's even, I guess,
they're saying Jordan Peele has a universe now too.
Yeah, I've heard that too. But nevertheless, man, movies are movies.
Yeah, we'll see. What's your next movie? What's the next one that you really want to watch? Not you're gonna watch because you have to watch it, but what do you want to watch?
I don't know. I can tell you who I can't wait for a new movie to come out. I can't wait for Tarantino's final film.
Okay.
I've been wanting to, you know.
He's busy trying to direct Star Trek right now.
Tarantino?
Yeah.
Really?
Watch the news.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll look that up.
Yeah.
No, I think Don't Worry, Darling, I want to see. I'm probably going to go see it this weekend. By the time this airs, it's probably going to be out on like fucking video on demand or some shit. But I feel like there's so many movies. I'm going to go to the have you heard of the Cannabis Movie Club yet?
No.
So it's right over by our school, they do like the cinema roof or whatever. So they turned it into a cannabis movie club, and so
That's
you can
cool.
go there. So I'm gonna go watch Friday in like a few weeks.
Nice. All right.
We're gonna go smoke up in there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of the next thing I'm gonna go see, man. I've been so busy with my thesis like the last 2 months. Like,
no, I get it.
So busy, like day in, day out, like nonstop. Just like couldn't stop going.
Yeah.
And I just have not kept up with shit. Like, I have no idea. But I'm really looking forward to. I know there's really good movies coming out.
Yeah.
I know there's
so many.
There's so many. I just can't think of it right now because I just haven't like looked at anything in like a week or two. So.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I'm going to watch. So it's Halloween.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Halloween. Okay.
So I'm gonna go watch Carrie.
Okay.
At Hollywood Forever, the cemetery.
When's that?
The 18th of October.
Oh damn! I won't be here.
But I've never done a Hollywood Forever movie thing, so
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that.
I'm down to do one when I get back on the 23rd or 4th.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. I mean, I love trying new shit.
Yeah,
so
same.
I'm okay with that. As for new movies, I'm going to go watch Moon Age Daydream, which is the David Bowie documentary. It came out today.
Oh, sick.
Today, Thursday? Wednesday. It comes out tomorrow. So I'm going to go watch that. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I'm going to go watch Don't Worry, Darling, because...
Yeah, of course.
I love Florence Pugh.
Yeah, she's great. Well...
You know, I see these people who are trying to direct these stories or produce or write or compose for these stories with zero knowledge of how the world works.
Yes.
Right? Or the experience of life. And I know you've had your ups and downs.
Yeah, for sure.
You're younger.
I know what you're saying because I get frustrated with it as well. Like I'm much younger, but I do I find myself more mature than most people my age, and because of life experience, and I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, and I'm the reverse, right? So I didn't get to have a youth when I was young. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I joined the army when I was 19.
Yeah.
2 months later, the towers fell for 9/11.
Oh, snap.
I was still in basic training. So it was really rough, but I stayed in the military for a very long time for a sense of duty and responsibility. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. I've always wanted to be an actor.
Yeah.
However, age gets the best of you.
Yeah, and just life. In
Yeah,
general.
just life. But the thing is, I can still watch a movie and be like, the lighting is good, the the acting is good, the color is good, the sound is good. I can still see all those things. So I decided to move towards making movies. And I took a break, but I didn't go into film school until almost 40 years old. And you have to realize, like, age doesn't matter. I still love 10 years old or 40 years old, I still love movies. I still know how they work. I still know how they function. I'm glad I got the education of the technical aspect of it, but it's when I first came in and decided to do this, one of the things I was scared about and feared was I'm going to be competing with 20-year-olds. And it scared the crap out of me. But then I realized those 20-year-olds don't have the stories. They don't have the experience. They're coming from an educational standpoint, and I'm coming from a life standpoint. And I'm happy to still be here and try to figure it out. These last few months of college are kind of weird because I'm communicating with people my age. My professors are my age.
Yeah, for sure.
And so tomorrow I'm in the middle of thesis. Tomorrow I really have to go up to the professor and be like, you're speaking French to me. Because you're telling me to make a movie in 4 months when we both know realistically it takes 1 to 2 years.
Yeah. I've really started to notice that too. Like, people like my age and, like I love all my friends, but like our stories that we write are completely different on every level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like you, like I know you write more of a like drama kind of, action type.
No, I mean I write everything.
Well, yeah, of course.
And I was taught and mentored by a few filmmakers outside of school. And they were very happy to tell me this. You can either write for yourself and go nowhere, or write for the people and go somewhere. So I can write horror. I can write horror, comedy, drama, fantasy, science fiction, whatever. But when you're writing and when you're directing or trying to make a piece of art, you have to understand the people that are going to enjoy it are the people that are watching and looking at it.
Yeah.
And it's subjective. And it'll hit people different ways. But if you're just writing for yourself, you're just telling your story, then it may not translate to the general public. And so I was fortunate enough to hear that advice and know that things like Jaws or Halloween, right? They may have had a vision of what they want, their story that they wanted told, but they moved it to make sure that it was good for everybody. And those are the most successful films.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, see, like I'm still kind of new to writing. Like I'm not like I'm not gonna be like, oh, I've been like writing forever, because I haven't. Like I've probably like consistently been writing for like a year. You know what I mean? Like, and that's mainly like, of course, there were school assignments and this and that, but I don't really like count that because I wasn't driven or I didn't have any motivation to do it in a sense. Even though I was doing it, I wasn't doing it because I wanted to, but because I had to. But now, like, I write, for myself, and I mainly write like dramas and stuff like that now, and that comes where like my life experience comes, and it is my stories. And I totally see what you're saying, and like I had kind of similar advice from a professor of ours, and he was like, how can you make this for everybody,
Right.
because it was a very personal story. He's like, because I think there was like, I didn't put a certain like element into the film, and he's like, well, you need to put this for it to make completely sense to everybody else, because it might make sense to you now, but it might not make sense to everybody else in a sense. And so like I've been learning how to write better like that as well. And like how long have you been writing? Like I know you've been writing for quite some
I
time.
mean, I hate writing.
Yeah, I know you hate it.
I
Yeah.
hate writing. I mean, I love directing actors. I love trying to get to the bottom of things to make sure that they have the proper emotional response for a script. But we're independent filmmakers, which means we have to do a lot of that stuff. Produce, direct, write. Whatever is needed of us is what's going to happen. For now.
Yeah.
Right. I don't ever want to work for a major studio.
Interesting. I'm the opposite. Like I kind of want to start and like build my way up into it.
Because you're a kid.
That's true.
I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about most students in their 20s or wherever they are in life. That's a dream.
I think it's a good way to start out, in a sense. Like if you don't like, for me, like in a sense of like I know what I'm doing, but at the same time, because of my life experience and because of the way like I was raised and stuff, I still kind of have that like kind of like the safe net, at first, at least at first, right? When I get out of school, I'm gonna play like the safe net a little bit, and then as I accumulate more connections and I accumulate more friends,
right,
I start branching out on my own.
And when you're younger, you give your ability to compromise. And that's what happens, right? We compromise. We compromise our vision. We compromise our love for the film. We compromise our love for art to make sure it gets out there.
Yeah.
I turn 40. I'll be 41 when I graduate. I don't have time to compromise anymore.
That's fair.
And the issue with working with major studios is that I do have to compromise because I'm not a Russo brother, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a Tarantino. I wasn't raised or grew up in Hollywood. I had to get here on my own terms, which means I have very finite time to make what I want to make. And so to say I'm going to give the power to executives, I'm going to give the power to other people who think they know better than me. I don't have that time to negotiate that, right? If you think about these young filmmakers back in the day, right? Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino, whatever, they started when they were in their 20s and are now established. So it's a struggle for me to try to establish myself at 40 years old when I have to compete with these people who have been here for decades. But I have stories to tell.
Exactly.
Which is nice. They didn't. All their stuff is made up. Like I really went through the things that I am telling stories about. And when I direct, luckily I can put myself back in those situations and be able to direct and focus on the actor's emotions while I'm doing it. So yeah, it's been really strange to be, right? Because you hear about these. Morgan Freeman didn't really get his big break until like 48, or Sam Jackson, didn't start. Bryan Cranston, like all these people, but they worked for it. Where I was too busy doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know very many people of my generation who didn't go into some weird security or the police force or something like that. So I was lucky enough to be able to pull out of that, go back to my artistic side. And, I've gotten a lot of praise from a few of my veteran buddies who I was in Iraq, Afghanistan with, who are like, you can tell our stories. And I was like, well, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
But I got to make sure I have some kind of foot in Hollywood before I can do that.
Yeah, I agree. And like, you know, I think what separates you from a lot of people too, and why we're really good friends, is you just like you understand everything in life. And like, I mean, not everything, of course.
No, I understand everything.
You understand everything, but
Everything.
you're such a very understanding person, and you're very humble, and you tend to like when we're on set, when we did your because I love you shot,
Mhm.
the way you like just like rolled, and the way you articulated everyone, and the way you worked with the actors, and you had like a mature sense to it. And it's when it you might be right about all these people having the upper hand on you, but at the same time it's like all these people are also, you know, that you're naming are like approaching their 70s and 80s, and that's where we're coming. We're the new wave. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? You're here to replace them in a sense. In a
Mhm.
sense, like, you know, because like say it's like Steven Spielberg, he's probably gonna work till he's like 100 years old if he can.
Yeah,
You know what I
nobody. No,
mean?
but that's the
But
thing. All
eventually,
you kids are never going to replace him
exactly,
until he's gone,
exactly.
right? Um, so I try to approach it in a very different way because I know I'm older than most people in the generation where I'm trying to make films. So I try to understand
Mm-hmm.
and negotiate and figure out how the new generation works. But I also want to be able to help a lot of the ego
Mm,
of filmmakers, actors, whoever. We all have big egos. We're all the main characters of our own story.
yeah,
I want them to understand and negotiate the fact that we still need to appreciate the fact that we're here for a reason,
yeah,
right? We're here because of Spielberg, Zemeckis, um, Hitchcock, like all these wonderful directors and filmmakers that gave us the opportunity to be where we are now.
mm-hmm.
I also want to encourage the younger generation to make their own stories. Don't reboot, don't rehash, no sequel. We're done. My generation had that time. We're good. Make your own stories,
Yeah,
right? Um, and the thing, I hope I can be a part of it. I hope I can help facilitate new and wonderful stories
mm-hmm.
that maybe will be a reboot 100 years from now. Because right now we are so busy looking back that we never really look forward.
I would agree. I would agree. And the reboots are definitely getting old. They're definitely getting they're definitely getting old
I
for
have to
sure.
see a sequel. I swear, if I see a sequel to The Goonies, I'm just gonna jump in the lake. I'm done.
One that always I really hope they never remake is Miss Doubtfire with Robin Williams. I hope that one never gets remade.
No, I don't think they will. At least not for a long time.
Or Goodwill Hunting. I hope they never remake that either.
And anything with Robin Williams to reboot would be a mistake. Jumanji was a mistake, to be honest.
Jumanji was a mistake. Aladdin was a mistake.
Right. Well, but I mean, I don't. That's how the machine works,
Yeah.
right?
It's the show business.
We have a live action, Little Mermaid, fucking Hercules is coming out soon. They're basically they are so dried up of content that they would just rather live action everything.
If they're so dried up on content, we got two Hercules coming. We got one in like the MCU and the regular Disney Hercules.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary.
I mean, Pinocchio is a perfect example. Pinocchio was, by the way, Tom Hanks, I love you, but what a horrible, dried up, phoned in version of Pinocchio came out.
I didn't even watch it.
No, but Del Toro's coming out with his version of Pinocchio.
Yeah, that's a
Not a live action, stop motion claymation.
Stop motion, yeah.
Where he really put his heart and soul into it. But Disney was like, you know what? Pinocchio's fair use. It's what's it called? It's
Public domain.
Public domain. So let's just redo it. Hot garbage.
It's awful, dude.
Big fat hot garbage.
I'm curious to see because I think Mickey Mouse is about to become a public domain too soon.
Well, that's what happened with Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, now they got the horror Winnie the Pooh movie,
Blood and Honey.
Blood and Honey. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna go watch it, but I know it's gonna be awful.
Hmm. I'm gonna go watch it too. That's the thing about filmmakers, and I think that's the thing about us. We watch movies in a very different way.
Oh, 100%.
Um,
In like an annoyance way sometimes as well too. You like we know everything about it. Like we
right,
can spot everything.
right. I'm gonna go watch Don't Worry, Darling later on tonight.
Oh, really, really?
Yes, with the knowledge of
Yeah.
not that great. Olivia Wilde barely directed it. She was too busy blowing Harry Styles in the trailer. This isn't live, right? I'm allowed to say this.
No.
Florence Pugh put 110% of her time and life into that. And she directed more than 50% of it because Olivia was too busy doing whatever she was doing. But I'm going to watch that movie and I didn't do this when I was younger, but I do it now. I sit through the credits to see the DP, the cinematographer. I sit to see who the gaffer was, right? The person who sets up the lights, the sound, all that good stuff, because they should be appreciated way more than they are, right? We don't see them in the Oscars.
People have like no idea how much it takes to make a movie.
No, we see the credit fall on the director, but if it wasn't for the assistant director, the cameraman, like the lighting people, the color people, the production designer, all these people put so much love and effort into that movie, and we don't appreciate them because the Oscars tell us to appreciate the director, the writer, and the actors, and that's it. And it's a shame because credit should be given where credit's due.
Oh, I agree. I think a lot of like, I do the same thing now too. I watch the credits. I mean, obviously, like if I got like a big group of people, like they all want to spurt out.
They can go
for sure.
They can for real. I've sat in a theater and be like, they were like, "Oh, the movie's over." I'm like, "Go ahead, go."
Interesting.
I'll meet you out front.
That's what's up. Yeah, no, I pay attention to the credits a lot more too though because there's a lot of unsung heroes in the movies and people have no like idea just like what like one job takes. Even like a production assistant, bro, that person worked their ass off for like 6 months making that movie, doing some of the most like ridiculous tasks you could ever think of.
I mean, some of the hardest working people on production are assistant directors, right?
Exactly.
And I have a friend who's going into the assistant director program at the Directors Guild.
Oh shit, I was gonna apply for that.
Smart girl. And she's very math minded. And a lot of people think like, oh, AD at the DGA, you get in the guild and whatever. That's great, but AD is not a direct link to director. There are two big differences. An AD is very logical. They're very math minded, scheduling. Call sheets. I need to get these people here at this time. I need to make sure craft services are here at this time. A director is all creative. Storyboards, shot lists. How do I make my vision come alive? So it was really cool to see her, this amazing female, STEM-minded, right? Very mathematically centered. And she's like, I'm going to do the AD program. And I said, go for it. And she's like, I'm scared because I'm competing with a bunch of other people who have been in film. I'm like, yeah, but it's a bunch of people who are directors that think that assistant director means they're going to be directors. It's not how it works.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. Right? Horrible title. They should have named it something completely different.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I actually quite enjoy assistant directing work actually over directing. Like I'm a creative person, but like I just shot my thesis. We didn't complete it yet, but we just shot it, and I found myself being more of an AD than an actual director on my own shoot. And I had realized when I was shooting, I was like, although I love directing actors and it's fun and like it helps me get my story across. At the same time, it's like I really enjoy the scheduling, getting people where they need to be, being that guy that everybody has to go to make sure everything's logically set and
I
everything's
hate that shit so much.
really.
Yeah, I really do.
See, I love it, dude. I'm a fiend for it, dude. Like I don't know what it is. Like it's not on like some power stuff. It's just like I like like that people need me to make sure all this stuff is set to go, and like they have to rely on me no matter what, and like I have to run the ship. Like I have to keep it a tight ship, and like I just love all of that. Like I don't know why. Maybe it's like the business aspect of it too, because like I have like associates in business as
Mhm.
well, and so like maybe it's just kind of more the business side of me that I've always loved, and like I have business owners in my family and stuff, and like that's probably why like it just connects with my brain better.
I can't do that. I mean, my brain doesn't work that way, right? So I go onto a set, I see people, I see how they work, I see a story that needs to be told. I want to make sure that the emotions are proper for both, multiple actors at the same time. I'll put them to the side and like be like, hey, this is what you need to do, whatever. I don't think about time. I don't think about money. I don't think about we have to get them sandwiches by 1 p.m., whatever. And the thing is, like, I think actors don't feel that way either, for the most part. I think the longer you're in Hollywood, the more you respond to it's time for a sandwich or whatever. But people who are passionate about the art and passionate about acting will stay in it as long as they can. We'll do the rest the logistical part later. Let's get this in the can, as they say. So I'm very much an actor's director, and I want to stay that way, where I can empathize, understand, and figure out what actors need to do on a set to bring the most powerful performance they can bring. And that's why I rely on my AD to do all the other stuff, right? The schedule, when are the sandwiches coming? When do we break the crew? Who needs to stay here at this moment to make sure that the shot gets shot? And I love that. I love that we can coordinate that. So I love that Hollywood and movie making is one of the only places where creatives and logistical math-minded people can work in unison to make a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because we don't see that anywhere else. If you're an artist, you're a painter, you're a sculptor, whatever, you're in that headspace, right? If you're a physicist, if you're a scientist, a mathematician, a teacher, whatever, you're in this headspace. But filmmaking is where both of them combine to make something that we watch on a Friday night and let ourselves go for a little bit.
I love that. And I would very much so agree. I see it, everything you like named about, like the AD, like I enjoy even making a call sheet, like I could do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my friend's a mathematician, like her degree is in math.
Oh, that's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
And she's like, I'm really scared about going to this AD program. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, I'm not creative. I don't know how I would work with, creative people. And I was like, you are set apart from them because an AD is math. It's Excel spreadsheets. It's call sheets. It's all these things like graphs and
Budgets, numbers.
budgets and scheduling and all this other stuff. You're going to do great. And not just are you going to do great, you're going to be able to set yourself apart because you know these things already. And she's like, well, I want to work on your projects. I'm like, I don't have any projects.
Yeah.
But whenever I get to that point where I'm making, these wonderful independent films, of course I'd love to have you there. But learn the business first.
Yeah, for sure.
She knows the math. She just needs to learn the creative part of it.
Good on her. That's a really hard program to get into. It's like
I'm rooting for her, man.
Yeah, I'm rooting for her too. Yeah, they only I think they said they get like 10,000 applicants a year and they pick 20.
20.
They pick 20.
20 people.
20 people out of 10,000. So like,
But out of those 10,000, I guarantee you 80% of those people are creatives who are trying to work the system to get into Hollywood. Or she's like, no, I just like the math. I like the organization. And that's, I mean, when she understands how filmmaking works, she'll be my AD for life.
for sure.
And the thing is, like, and people don't get it, like, we're getting into this new generation of people who are making movies, and that's great. But if you look at the past, if you look at the history of film, directors work with the same people.
Oh, yes.
Right? Tarantino, Kevin Smith,
All the same.
Spielberg, all these people work with the same people. They have the same script supervisor, they have the same editors, they have the same assistant directors or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going into this generation finally where we're able to tell these stories, but us as creatives have to understand that we need those anchors of level-headed people. Our imaginations are going to go wild, right? I'm in this thesis class, and people are like, well, I want the sky to turn blue and green and special effects. I'm like, you don't have the money for that.
No, dude. I was thinking the same thing throughout my thesis classes. People,
Right.
There was this one dude. He was like a superhero, and there's nothing wrong with like making what you want to make, but like be logical about what you could afford for sure.
Of course.
And like this guy, he was like his whole like thesis was like a superhero thing, and he was supposed to be like the Green Lantern, but it was like a stoner one. I was like, you know how much money it costs just to make one scene with a Green Lantern like type deal? Like I was like,
I'm sitting here listening to. So I had my first thesis class last week, and these two people, very passionate, very like into their projects. Good for them for being passionate about it.
yeah.
One's about a vampire. By the way, gag. I'm done with vampires.
I know exactly whose project you're going to talk about.
No, I'm not. I'm not even going to give them the luxury of talking about it. But there's one person who's doing a vampire thesis, of course, right? And then there's another person who's like, there's a genie in a lamp, and he comes out, and fucking, there's like green screen all over the place. I'm going to do all the visual effects. I'm like, cool. Like, I'm doing a horror movie about somebody who's in a chair and he's stuck and he's trying to find a way out. I pay $0.00. I grab a shirt, tie it around his wrists, and go into conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's where I think, and I love it, but I hate it at the same time. People are so passionate and so driven that they think they're going to make Star Wars. They're going to make this big special effects crazy thing as a student film.
I think a lot of it has to do, and I'm kind of guilty of this myself. I think a lot of it has to do with hearing, the short film stories of like getting picked up at festivals, and I think it kind of goes to people's heads sometimes. Like I had kind of gotten that way, like in a sense, like the movie Lights Out.
Mm-hmm, yeah, of course.
So that was originally a short film that got picked up at a film festival, and it made into a movie. And I swear I hear that example all the time, and I sit there, I'm like, yeah, that's great, but it's also at the same time.
How much do you think they paid to make that movie?
Exactly.
$3,000?
Yeah.
Maybe. It was literally a room. The lights turned off.
It was probably the director's house.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like they probably spent like any money, and like a lot of these people realize too is like you can't focus on like the special. Like, if you're doing special effects, you also need to realize to put in your budget. You need to feed people, and you need to pay for other things and do other things. Like for mine, like.
Oh, you got craft services.
Oh yeah.
You got, pre-production, post-production, all this other crazy stuff.
Just food alone for like 2 days was like $1,500.
And we know the rule, right?
Yeah.
You feed them, you make them happy, they'll work harder.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
Right?
Ain't no pizza on my set.
No, there's definitely pizza on my set. Everybody loves pizza.
So,
One of the days there will
yeah,
be
yeah.
pizza sandwich.
I would put like on the first day. I feel like that's the best day to put it.
Maybe
Because like the last day, like for me personally, like the last day I want to feed them real good. You know what I mean? Like if
right.
possible.
And the thing is, like when I worked on my set for a movie that I never released, and I love writing script. I'll throw away half of them,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and nobody will ever see because I loved you.
Mm-hmm.
A handful of people will see it. I made sure, like, I contacted as many people as I could to make sure there was food on the set,
Mm-hmm. I remember.
and that was like the happiest day on set. And we made sure there was music playing that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
depressing. We played some hip hop after
Yep.
every shot. And I love being on that set, and I hope I can I can continue doing that as a director. Um, but yeah, man, these kids are. I love that they're shooting for the stars,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's great to be confident. It's great to have ambition.
it's
It's
great, but
fantastic.
I see it from an outside perspective. I didn't come to Hollywood on a wing and a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm gonna make it, or I'm gonna live in my car till I can get there.
You had a plan.
Well, I fought for my plan and I struggled for my plan. I've had some a rough go at it, and I'm just now getting to a point where I can bring my knowledge and my expertise and my history to these kids. Kids, they're not kids.
I mean,
They're kind of kids.
we're kind of still kids. I'm 24, and I would still consider myself a kid.
Yeah, but I'm not a studio. So I'm in my 40s, but I'm not a 40-year-old that's gonna be like, hey kid, you can't do this.
Yeah.
I want to be able to facilitate the next generation. And
Yeah,
make
you want to be open minded, and
Yeah, of
you want
course.
to allow them to
Right.
experiment and things. Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure that those stories get told, because it's a whole new world, man.
It is, especially after COVID. Super new world.
I mean, you got COVID, you got the riots, you got
Mm-hmm.
natural disasters, you got hurricanes, earthquakes. I'm working, and this is, for me, it's a big thing because I'm Latino. I'm trying to open and bring up a Latino production company that will allow Latinx men and women to tell their stories, which we don't hear very much about, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's always Vatos.
And if we do, it's always like some under budget. Like they never get the right amount budget that they need. You know what I mean? Studios always try to like half-ass them.
Here's what hurt my heart the most, and please don't put it in your podcast, or do. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I have no fucking.
I won't make. How about this? I won't make it a reel.
Fuck everyone. Fuck everything. Let's talk about it. Lin-Manuel Miranda is a Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he made Encanto about Colombia. Why? Why wouldn't you talk about this amazing island that is part of the United States, by the way? Most people don't know that for some reason.
Puerto Rico?
Fucking white people. No, they don't. They don't realize that Puerto Rico is this amazing part of the country that has lost all its resources to filter into the United States. And so when I was in my mid-30s, I went to Houston in the middle of Hurricane Harvey. That's what it was called. Harvey, not Weinstein, just Harvey. It was Hurricane Harvey. Houston had been flooded. It had been decimated.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove my car down there to help the people of Houston. 2 weeks later, Hurricane Maria hit Puerto Rico.
Mm.
And all you guys did was throw paper towels at us and tell us that we were going to be okay. We're still recovering from that.
That's crazy.
That disaster, and Fiona just hit it about a week ago.
Oh no.
And we don't think about those people.
We don't, dude. Like, and I'm a prime example, dude. I didn't even know any of that's going on. So that's like the prime example.
Black and white, right? We always fight about who's white, who's black. What's what's racism, and the Latinos like stay in the middle, and our stories never get told. Our history never gets told, and we're ignored a lot. And I listen, it's not about racism. It's not about, how do I explain this? It's about being forgotten because there's two major forces latching onto each other, men and women, right? Black and white. So all those things in between get lost. And like I have family who's has had no power for years and years and years. They lose water, they lose power, they lose structure, uh, and it's because that island got used by the continental U.S. and we're just now figuring out like maybe we should kind of pay attention to it a little bit. Um, and we have Latino actors,
Mm-hmm.
but they're afraid to talk about Puerto Rico because they don't want to get blacklisted by Hollywood. So I'm gonna make this movie cheap. Horror. We all know horror movies are cheap as hell to make. Good return on investment. I'm gonna start what I'm gonna call it Taino Pictures. Taino are the first indigenous people of Puerto Rico, and make sure that Latino voices have a place in Hollywood, and not just as like vatos with lowriders or freaking super virile, the suave, Romeos of the world. We're not going to do that, right? We have to tell these great stories um, about Latino culture and make sure that it's not compounded into some racist category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like I commend it so much because it is forgotten, and I think we're at a point in society where we want to hear, new stories and from different cultures. Like if you notice like a lot of content, like even I notice I watch a lot of shows in different languages now as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the content is just getting better.
Them Koreans, man, they're making some
Holy
good fucking
shit.
movies, right?
Holy shit.
Squid Game.
Dude, there was this even Brazil's kind of starting to slap a little bit. I watched this it's called Fences on it's on Netflix, and I was like this isn't really gonna be that funny.
I love being in a class and some person being like, oh, I won't watch it because it's subtitles. I'm like, you're missing out on a whole
Nother
range
world.
of like artistic, beautiful, filmmaking because you don't want to read.
I had this argument with my parents because I was trying to get them to watch Squid Game, and I was like, no, like you guys need to. They're like, we just don't want to read the subtitles, and it's like we don't want to have to keep up with it, and like the mouthing will be off. I was like, don't even like pay attention. Just like focus on what happens and pay attention to the subtitles and just like read what they're saying. It's incredible.
I'm gonna bring something up for you too. Your wife Sabrina.
Yes.
Sabrina. Her name's Sabrina. She's Brazilian.
Yeah.
How many people think she speaks Spanish?
So many.
So many people.
Many.
It's Portuguese.
Yes, Portuguese.
Right? And that's the thing. We don't take the time to acknowledge and educate ourselves on the cultures of other people because we think our culture is more important.
And it's so weird because I just find every other culture except America so beautiful. Like in the sense of like
America has a beauty onto itself,
Mhm.
but we have shrouded it so much with politics and fucking bullshit and like all these things have hidden our culture. And it's not to say that because we're babies compared to other cultures, we're not even teenagers yet, right? I mean, if you think about Europe, these things are breaking down as they're building, and we have this, but we think we're so important.
That's what I was saying.
We're not that important.
I know that's what I was saying earlier. Was like when we first had started talking, that like I have just taken a step back like this like last few months and like really realized like how grateful I should be in the situation that I am, and it goes all the way back to that. It's like dude, we have it so easy, we have it so good, and yet the whole, like, everyone I talk to, not everyone, but a vast majority of people I talk to think they have it so bad here. They think that they're more important than a certain person or a certain, subject, and or they act like they're better than it. And it's like this, like, last few months, as I've approached graduation and I've realized that, like, I'm married, I have a dog, I live in a beautiful apartment, live in a beautiful city. Yeah, there's homeless people that scream at you every now and then, but you gotta pay a price to live in a beautiful city sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, and I just have realized that, like, I've been so ungrateful the last, like, 2-3 years, that, like, I think it's really, like, and it's because of things like that. I've realized, like, I'm leaving for Brazil in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And, like, I'm gonna come back. I expect to come back very, like, humbled and feeling grateful, because I know.
I want you to think about it this way, and when you come back, I want you to remember this too. Um, the U.S. is one of the only countries in the world
Mm-hmm.
that we are separated by our own kind, right? So
Sabrina says the same thing.
People in LA are different than people in New York, who are different from people in the South, who are different from people in the Midwest. So even if I cross this, even if I drive to New Mexico, it's a completely different culture, completely different people, completely different understanding of how the world works. So, we first off, the homelessness in LA is a joke and it shouldn't happen, and I don't agree with it at all. It's horrible. It makes me sad. I've been homeless. I know how it works. It sucks. But the way we treat the homeless here is different
Mm-hmm.
than the way the homeless are treated in Dallas. Or at least in other countries, they kind of get that and they understand. They have pride in their culture and their country
Mm-hmm.
and how things work. Here we have pride 6 different ways. So even in our own country, we have to appreciate the culture of 2 states over. And when we write and when we create and when we do these things, we need to make sure that we respect those cultures, even in our own country. So for example, I have a script written about a breakup, and these two people are from 2 different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But out of respect, I reached out to a female writer and said, I can't write the female perspective of this. That would be silly of me. I'm not a female. I don't know how your brains work. I don't know how you're going to go through these things. I don't know what's going on in your head. So help me write this. I can write from the male perspective. And it almost felt like when I was writing with her, we were breaking up. Right?
Yeah.
And we had to do that. We had to have those arguments.
Yeah.
To be able to write it properly. So as a writer, director, or anything else, a creative, make sure that if it's not your point of view, if it's not your vision, it's not the way you live your life, bring someone in that can help you create that. Yeah.
Bro, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you taking the time coming on and, just chatting it up with me, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, man.
I'm excited for this to air, man. Seriously, I'm really excited. So, thank you so much for coming. You'll definitely be back because I just really enjoyed our conversation. So,
Sounds good.
again, everyone, Ernesto Rodriguez, veteran writer, director, and filmmaker.